In this video, we'll be looking at the landing page content type for OpenY. We'll go through how to add a new landing page for your site and also how to add some basic content for that page as well. The first step we want to take is to go to the main content menu within our administration menu at the top of the screen. From here, we then want to use the add content option. This will give us a list of all of the content types that are available within our OpenY site. And from here, we want to select the landing page content type. This will take us through to the main backend editing screen for our new landing page, where we can start to fill out some of the details for the page and add some content. So the first thing we want to do here is give the page a title. So I'll just give it a simple test page title here. We then can select the layout. As you can see, there's a few different options here. For the purposes of today's demonstration, I'll show the layouts of 1 column and 2 columns. So the first one I'm just going to select is the 1 column option here, which is just going to give us 1 column of our main content. The next 3 areas here we see represent the different areas of the page. So the header area being what you would see at the top of the page, the content area is what you'd see in the main body and the content of the page, and then the bottom area is what you'd see below that just before the footer. So this just lets you kind of add content logically and keep it a little bit more organized as well. So the first one we'll have a quick look at is the header area. Now, this is slightly different to the main content area in that anything we add here in terms of content or blocks would be full width of the page. And the reason for that is because most often for the header area, we're going to be adding some sort of banner. So for this example, I'm going to add a small banner. And because it's a banner, it's something that we'd want to kind of show full width on the page. So again, this is why it's important that we place it in the header area, as well as that's the kind of logical area that you would see it here. So we can start to fill out some of the details here, which is essentially starting to build some content on this landing page as well. So I'm going to give this banner a headline. We can, if we want to, choose an image to have as the background of this banner. So I'll just select something from the media library here that's already uploaded. For banners, as you're adding them to pages as well, you'll notice that the color field is a required field. The reason for that is even though we are going to be loading an image, the banner is still going to load as a solid color, which we've selected blue here, and then the image is going to load on top of that. So it just helps the page load a bit quicker. And also if we haven't used an image, which is not a required field, then the banner would have a background color that it would use. There's also an optional description field if we chose to use that. And then we can come down to the next section. So this is where we'd be adding the main body of the page, the main content for the page. So for this example, I'm going to use another paragraph that's within your OpenY site, and that's just called simple content. So this is just your basic content editor, which allows you to add different things to the main content of your site, like text, images, videos, and just with some basic formatting options as well. So we can just type straight into the tool here. We can use the formatting options above. And we can also, I'm just going to copy some lorem ipsum. We can also just copy and paste directly into the tool as well, and then continue to apply formatting, hyperlinks, imagery, etc. So for the purpose of this example, I'm just going to apply some very basic formatting just so we can kind of see how that comes through as content on our landing page. So for this, this is a test text. I'm going to apply some header styling just by using the drop down here. And I might choose to maybe just make some text bold here. We could continue with obviously all of the options here, but the purpose of today's video is to go through the landing page. So we'll continue on. And then for the bottom area, I'm not going to add anything here. As well as, again, just splitting up the content, the bottom area is similar to the header area in that it allows that content to be full width. So sometimes where you're kind of putting a block that might need to be full width at the bottom of a page, then you're able to use this bottom area here as well. Finally, just to mention very quickly, the location area here relates to some new functionality within OpenY, where we can reference, if this page is referencing a certain branch or location that exists within your OpenY site, you can reference that here. It links to different parts of functionality, for example, alerts. But in this case, we'll leave this just as the default none, as we're just doing a basic demonstration of a landing page. So I've now created my landing page. I've added a title, I've added a small banner to my header, and I've also added some simple content here to my body as well. So let's just save that and see how that comes out. So you can see straight away here, we've got our new page, we've got our test banner here, we've got our content with our formatting as we expected and as we applied it in our simple content block. So creating a landing page is pretty straightforward. It's pretty easy. I'll now just go through very quickly some additional options. One for the layout of the page. So we'll have a look at how we can make this a 2-column layout. And we'll also just have a quick look at some of the other page options that might be useful. So I'm going to use the edit option here to go back into the screen. I was just editing. And I'm going to change my layout here to 2 columns. So you can see straight away, we now have a new area, which is our sidebar area. And we can treat this exactly the same way as the other areas. We can just go in and add our blocks. So we can add, for example, another simple content. And we can go in and add content as we did before. So again, I'm just going to hold some content into a simple content block here. Correct some spelling errors, sorry. And then I'm just going to apply just some similar formatting just so we can see that come through as well. So this is just the first option we'll have a look at very quickly. It's fairly self-explanatory, but you can see here now we've got this 2-column layout. So this is a good way to kind of have some differentiators on a page, or maybe if you've got some different blocks that might work well in these different areas, it's quite a nice way to split up content on the page as well. And then finally, just to wrap up today's video, we're just going to look at the options for not just the landing page. It does these options on the right hand side here don't just apply to landing pages, but there are some it can be other content types, but there's some useful features here and settings that are good to know when you're creating something like a basic landing page. So the first one, I'm going to skip past a few here because I'm not going to be able to go through every single option. But the first one I wanted to just demonstrate very quickly was the URL alias option. So at the moment, it's going to always generate an automatic URL alias. And that URL alias is just going to be what the page title is. So it's just going to basically take what you give as the page title and create that automatically. There may be circumstances where that doesn't work for this page, or you may want to define this as a subpage of another page here. So I'm just using this as an example where I'm overriding the generate automatic URL alias option, and I'm just entering here my own URL alias. And then if I save that, you'll see straight away that you have a different URL alias applied for the page. So that's quite an important option when you're creating landing pages, because they won't all necessarily be the kind of default link that it's given. You're going to obviously be creating sets of pages, groups of pages, pages that are sub-pages of other pages. So that's quite an important bit. And then finally, the last option I'll show in this right-hand section here, and you can see it at the top here. It's just a very handy bit of functionality when you're doing some content entry. For most content types, it'll have this as a default option where it's creating a new revision. So if I'm making a change on the page, basically it's taking a snapshot of what the page was. So if I need to, I can revert to it. And if you choose to, you can add a log message as you're making a change here to reference the change that you've made, but you don't have to do that. A lot of the time, you can just leave that blank, but you might find it useful to just add that if you're doing lots of content entry and changes. And to go to revert a revision, I would use the tabs at the top here, all the default options, and I can just click on revisions. And I can see straight away the page that I've now got the current revision on. So this is the very latest change I've made. It's the live page. And you'll see here, this was the page when it was initially created. So we can see on this list all of the revisions that are saved. Obviously, we only have this one really that's been created since I've made the page. And if I want to, I can click on the date and time here next to the revision. And what it'll do is it'll actually take me to the page and how it looks. So I can see if that's the revision I was after even, which is quite helpful. And if I choose to, then I can just revert the page fully back to that version if needed. And it'll also create another revision at that point of the page in its current state as well. So it's a very helpful tool, especially if you're changing content regularly on an important page. It just allows you to quickly and easily revert to different previous revisions. So that summarizes the video today on the landing page content type. I hope you find that useful, and thank you for your time.